I'm 37 years old, and 5 years ago, my ex-wife Monica abandoned our family after cheating on me with her childhood friend Derek. She terminated her parental rights during our divorce, and I haven't seen or heard from her since. I rebuilt my life, got a better job, bought a bigger house, and focused everything on raising my 2 daughters, Sophie, who's 9 now, and Emma, who's 7. Then last week, Monica showed up at my door with another man's child. A boy who couldn't have been older than 3 or 4. She was crying, telling me she was ready to be a family again, that she wanted to give our marriage another chance. And what I discovered after slamming the door in her face would reveal a betrayal so deep, it involved the people I trusted most. Before I go any further, drop a comment right now and tell me where you're watching from. I want to know who's hearing this story. It was a Tuesday morning. The girls were at school, and I was about to leave for work when the doorbell rang. I opened it without thinking, and there she was. Monica. Standing on my porch with a little boy holding her hand. For a second, I couldn't process what I was seeing. 5 years. 5 years of silence, and now she was here, on my doorstep, like no time had passed at all. I'm here to apologize, she said, her voice cracking. Tears were already streaming down her face. I'm here to make things right. I'm ready to be a family again. To give our marriage another chance. The little boy looked up at me with Derek's eyes. There was no question who his father was. Monica had left our daughters for Derek, had a child with him, and now she was here asking for a second chance. The audacity of it made my blood boil. This is not your family anymore, I said, my voice cold and steady. I stopped being your husband the day you cheated on me with Derek. You signed away your rights to our daughters. You gave them up. You have no right to call us your family. Her face crumpled. Please, just let me explain. No. I started closing the door. You need to leave. Now. Wait. She reached out, but I'd already shut the door. I locked it and stood there, my heart pounding. I could hear her crying on the other side, wailing like her world was ending. Good. Let her feel a fraction of what she put us through. I waited by the door for a few minutes until the crying stopped and I heard footsteps walking away. I looked through the peephole. She was gone. I took a deep breath, grabbed my briefcase, and headed to work. I tried to push the encounter out of my mind, but it kept replaying. Why now? Why after 5 years of nothing? The answer came sooner than I expected. That evening, my phone rang. My father. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. What the hell did you do? He demanded before I could even say hello. Excuse me? Angela came to us crying. She said you slammed the door in her face. She said you wouldn't even let her explain. My stomach dropped. Monica came to you? Of course she did. We gave her your address. We told her where to find you and what to say. His voice was angry, defensive. She's been trying to get back into her daughter's lives for years, and you gave her my address? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You had no right to do that. We have every right, my mother's voice came through the speaker. She'd picked up the other line. Those girls need their mother. And you've been keeping them from her long enough. She signed away her rights. I was yelling now. She chose Derek over her own children. She abandoned them. She made a mistake, my father said. People make mistakes. But she's ready to make things right now. Derek's out of the picture. She's getting divorced. This is her chance to fix things, and you're being selfish. Selfish? I couldn't process this. How long have you been in contact with her? There was a pause. Too long of a pause. When my mother spoke again, her voice was quieter. We've been in touch since the divorce. She reached out to us. She was devastated. She wanted to stay connected to her girls. Stay connected? My hands were shaking. What does that mean? It means... My father sighed. We've been letting her see them. When you drop the girls off at our house, she comes over. They spend time together. The world tilted. How long? About 5 years, my mother said quietly. Since right after the divorce. 5 years. They've been facilitating visits between Monica and my daughters for 5 years. Behind my back. Lying to me. Making my children lie to me. The betrayal was so complete, so massive, that I couldn't find words. You need to give her another chance, my father continued. We know what's best for those girls. They need their mother. And whether you like it or not, we have a say in their lives. We helped you during the divorce. We take care of them every week. We've earned the right to make decisions about their well-being. No, I said, my voice shaking with rage. You've earned nothing. You betrayed me. You've been lying to me for 5 years. You've been making my daughters lie to me. We did what we had to do, my mother shouted. You were being unreasonable. You cut Monica out completely, and those girls needed their mother. She didn't want them. I shouted back. She chose Derek. She terminated her rights. How is any of this my fault? Because you're being stubborn and arrogant, my father said. You're ruining those girls' lives by keeping them from their mother. We did our due diligence. Monica's changed. She's ready to be a mother again. And you need to step aside and let that happen. I hung up. I blocked their numbers. I sat on my couch, my whole body shaking. 5 years of lies. 5 years of my parents taking my daughters and bringing Monica into their lives without my knowledge. 5 years of my children keeping secrets from me. But how much did my daughters know? Had they been aware of what was happening? Or had my parents manipulated them into silence? I had to find out. But I needed to be smart about this. If I confronted them right now, they'd just deny everything or minimize it. I needed proof. I needed evidence of what had really been happening all these years. That night, after the girls went to bed, I sat in my office and made a decision that would change everything. I was going to find out exactly what my parents had done. And then I was going to make sure they could never hurt my daughters again. The next morning, I called in sick to work. As soon as Sophie and Emma left for school, I started digging. My daughters had tablets my parents had given them last year for Christmas. I'd always thought it was odd, expensive gifts for young kids, but my parents had insisted. Now I wondered if there was a reason. I opened Sophie's tablet first. It required a password, but I knew my daughter. She used her birthday for everything. The tablet unlocked. I went straight to the messaging app and saw a contact labeled M's friend. The chat history went back 4 years. 4 years of messages. Hundreds of them. I started scrolling, and with each message, my hands shook harder. Hi sweetie. I miss you so much. Can't wait to see you this weekend at Grandma's house. Remember not to tell Daddy about our special time together. It's our secret. You're such a good girl for keeping our friendship private. Mommy's so proud of you. Mommy. She was signing her messages as Mommy. But telling my daughter to lie about it. To keep it secret. My vision blurred with rage. I opened Emma's tablet. Same password. Same contact. Same years of messages. But Emma's were different. More manipulative. More insidious. Daddy doesn't understand why we need to see each other. He's angry at Mommy, so he doesn't want you to be happy. If you tell Daddy about me, he'll be very upset. He might even send you away. Grandma says God punishes little girls who don't keep their promises. You promised to keep our friendship secret, remember? They'd threatened my 7-year-old daughter with divine punishment for telling me the truth. They'd manipulated her into thinking I'd send her away if she mentioned Monica. These weren't secret visits. This was systematic psychological abuse. But the messages were just the beginning. I found video chat logs. Years of video calls between Monica and my daughters. I clicked on the saved videos folder. Monica had been recording these calls and sending them to my daughters. I clicked on the most recent one. Monica's face filled the screen, tears streaming down her cheeks. I miss you girls so much, she said. Daddy took you away from me. He was so angry that he made me leave. But I never wanted to go. I love you so much. I think about you every day. My daughters' voices came through the speakers. We miss you too, Mommy. I know you do, sweethearts. But we have to be strong. Daddy doesn't understand. He thinks he's protecting you, but he's hurting us. He's keeping us apart. But one day, maybe we can all be together again. Would you like that? Yes, Mommy. Then we have to be patient. And we have to keep this our special secret. Okay? Okay, Mommy. I closed the tablet. I couldn't watch anymore. Monica had been poisoning my daughters against me for years. Telling them I was the villain. That I'd taken them from her. That I was the reason they couldn't be together. And my parents had facilitated every second of it. But I needed more. I needed to know what my parents had been saying to my daughters. What kind of coaching had they done to make sure this secret stayed hidden? I pulled up my home security camera footage. I'd installed cameras last year after a neighbor's house got broken into. They were in the living room, the kitchen, and the hallway. I'd never thought to check them for anything beyond security. But now I wondered what they might have captured. I scrolled back through months of footage, looking for the days when my parents had the girls. It didn't take long to find something. A Saturday from 2 months ago. My parents had the girls for the day while I worked. I fast-forwarded through the morning, and then I saw it. My mother, Sophie, and Emma sitting on the couch. My mother was talking, her hands gesturing. I turned up the volume. Now remember, girls, when Daddy picks you up, if he asks what you did today, what do you say? We played games with you and Grandpa, Sophie said dutifully. And did you see anyone else? No, Emma said. Just you and Grandpa and your friend. Good girl. And if Daddy asks who the friend is? We don't know her name, Sophie said. She's just your friend from church. Perfect. Because if you tell Daddy about Mommy's visits, he'll be very angry. He might not let you come visit Grandma and Grandpa anymore. And you wouldn't want that, would you? Both girls shook their heads. And remember what we talked about. God sees everything. He knows when little girls tell lies. And he knows when they break promises. You promised Mommy you'd keep this secret. And breaking promises is a sin. I felt sick. They'd used religious manipulation on children. They'd threatened them with losing their grandparents. They'd made keeping Monica's visit seem like a sacred duty. My daughters hadn't had a choice. They'd been cornered by the adults they trusted most. I downloaded every video, every message, every piece of evidence I could find. Then I called my lawyer. I need to file for restraining orders, I told him. Against my ex-wife and my parents. Your parents? He sounded surprised. What happened? I told him everything. The messages, the videos, the coaching sessions. The 5 years of systematic deception. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. This is bad, he said finally. This is really bad. What they did, manipulating children, facilitating contact with a parent who terminated their rights, this could be considered custodial interference. Maybe even emotional abuse. Can we get the restraining orders? Absolutely. With this evidence? Absolutely. How soon do you want to move on this? Today, I said. I want papers filed today. I'll draw them up now. Come by this afternoon to sign them. After I hung up with the lawyer, I sat in my office staring at the wall. I had all the evidence I needed. But I couldn't shake the feeling that just getting restraining orders wasn't enough. Monica and my parents had manipulated my daughters for 5 years. They'd made them lie. They'd poisoned them against me. They'd violated every boundary I'd put in place to protect my children. They deserved more than just legal consequences. They deserved to face what they'd done. To have it exposed. To have everyone know exactly what kind of people they were. And I knew exactly how to make that happen. That evening, when Sophie and Emma came home from school, I sat them down in the living room. They looked nervous, like they could sense something was wrong. I tried to keep my voice calm and gentle. Girls, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Have you been seeing your mom? At Grandma and Grandpa's house? Sophie's face went white. Emma started crying immediately. Please don't be mad at us. Emma sobbed. Grandma said we'd be in trouble with God if we told. My heart shattered. I'm not mad at you, sweetheart. I'm not mad at either of you. You didn't do anything wrong. But we lied to you, Sophie whispered. Her eyes were filling with tears. We saw Mommy and we didn't tell you. That's because Grandma and Grandpa made you lie. They told you that you had to keep it secret. That's not your fault. You were just doing what the adults told you to do. Are we in trouble? Emma asked through her tears. No, baby. You're not in trouble. But I need you to tell me everything. How long have you been seeing Mommy? Since forever, Sophie said. Since we were little. Grandma would pick us up and Mommy would be at the house. She'd bring us presents. She'd talk to us. She'd tell us stories. And what did she tell you about why you couldn't tell me? The girls looked at each other. Finally, Sophie spoke. She said you were mad at her. That you didn't want us to see her. That you'd taken us away from her and she missed us. Comment below and tell me what you would do in this situation. Would you forgive your parents, or cut them off completely? Did she ever say anything about me? About why things happened the way they did? Emma nodded. She said you made her leave. That she didn't want to go but you made her. My chest tightened. Girls, that's not what happened. Your mom chose to leave. She chose to be with Derek instead of being with us. I didn't make her do anything. She made that choice herself. But she said? Sophie trailed off. I know what she said. But she wasn't telling you the truth. And Grandma and Grandpa helped her lie to you for a very long time. I pulled both girls into a hug. I'm so sorry you had to carry this secret. I'm so sorry they put you in that position. But it's over now. You don't have to keep any secrets anymore. Are we still going to see Grandma and Grandpa? Sophie asked. I took a deep breath. No, sweetheart. You're not. What they did was wrong. They lied to me and they made you lie too. They hurt our family. So we're not going to see them anymore. And we're not going to see your mom either. Emma started crying again. Sophie just nodded, looking numb. I held them both while they cried, hating Monica and my parents for putting my daughters through this. They were 9 and 7. They should have been worried about homework and friends and what game to play at recess. Instead, they'd been carrying the weight of adult lies and manipulation for years. That night, after the girls went to bed, I sat down at my computer. I'd been thinking about this all day. The restraining orders would protect us legally. But Monica and my parents would just tell everyone their version of events. They'd play the victim. They'd say I was being vindictive. That I was keeping children from their mother and grandparents out of spite. I wasn't going to let that happen. I was going to make sure everyone knew the truth. I created a new post on social media. And I started typing. 5 years ago, my ex-wife terminated her parental rights to our 2 daughters so she could be with another man. Last week, she showed up at my house wanting to reconcile because her relationship failed. What I discovered next exposed a 5-year conspiracy to manipulate my children behind my back. I laid it all out. Every detail. The secret visits. The video chats. The coaching sessions. The manipulation. I included screenshots of Monica's messages with my daughters' faces blurred out. I included transcripts of my parents coaching them to lie. I included photos of the bribes, the toys, the expensive tablets, the secret bank account my parents had opened in Sophie's name where Monica deposited money monthly. I didn't name my parents or Monica directly. I just called them my ex-wife and my parents. But anyone who knew our family would figure it out instantly. I wrote about the messages where Monica told my daughters I'd taken them away from her. The videos where she cried and played the victim. The threats of divine punishment if they told me. The years of systematic psychological manipulation of children. And then I posted it. To my timeline where my friends, my extended family, my coworkers, everyone could see it. The response was immediate. Within minutes, comments started pouring in. Messages from friends expressing shock and support. Messages from extended family members saying they'd suspected something was wrong but never knew what. Messages from my parents' friends asking if it was true. My phone started ringing. I ignored it. I knew who it would be. My parents. Monica. Maybe my siblings trying to mediate. I didn't want to talk to any of them. They could read the post. They could see the evidence. There was nothing left to say. An hour later, Monica posted her own response. This is taken out of context. I'm just a mother who wanted to see her children. He's making me look like a monster when all I did was love my daughters. But the screenshots I'd posted told a different story. People could see her exact words. They could read how she'd manipulated my daughters. They could see the evidence of coaching and threats. Her post got ratioed immediately, with hundreds of comments calling her out. My mother tried next. She posted something about how they were just trying to help Monica maintain a relationship with her children. How they'd done what they thought was best. How I was being cruel and vindictive. But people had seen the evidence. They'd seen the coaching sessions. The threats. The manipulation. My mother's post was met with the same backlash. By the end of the night, my parents had deleted their posts. Monica had deleted hers too. But it was too late. Screenshots had been taken. People had shared my original post. The truth was out there, and there was no taking it back. The next few days were chaotic. My parents tried calling me dozens of times. I blocked their numbers. They showed up at my house. I called the police and had them removed from my property. Monica tried to contact me through mutual friends. I told everyone to stop passing along her messages or they'd be cut off too. My lawyer filed the restraining order petitions with all the evidence I'd gathered. The judge reviewed the case and scheduled a hearing for the following week. At the hearing, my lawyer presented everything. The messages. The videos. The coached lying sessions. The psychological manipulation. Monica tried to defend herself, claiming she just wanted to maintain a relationship with her daughters. My parents claimed they'd done what they thought was best. The judge wasn't buying it. You facilitated contact between minor children and a parent who legally terminated her rights, she said to my parents. You coached these children to lie to their father. You threatened them with religious punishment. You manipulated them for years. This isn't maintaining a relationship. This is custodial interference and emotional abuse. She granted the restraining orders. 5 years. Monica, my mother, and my father were all prohibited from coming within 500 feet of me or my daughters. No contact of any kind. If they violated it, they'd face criminal charges. My parents left the courthouse looking devastated. Monica left looking angry. I left feeling like I could finally breathe. But the social consequences were just beginning. Within days of my post going viral in our community, my parents started facing repercussions. Friends stopped calling. Their church, where they'd been active members for decades, asked them to step back from volunteer positions. Family members took sides, and most sided with me. Some of my cousins posted their own statements supporting me and condemning what my parents had done. Monica lost her job. She'd been working at a family counseling center, and when her employer saw the evidence of what she'd done, manipulating children, violating custody arrangements, systematic psychological abuse, they terminated her employment immediately. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. My parents tried to salvage their reputation. They sent letters to family members explaining their side. But the evidence was too damning. The videos of them coaching my daughters to lie. The messages they'd sent facilitating Monica's contact. The threats they'd made. No amount of explanation could undo what people had seen with their own eyes. 3 months passed. Sophie and Emma started therapy. A child psychologist who specialized in family manipulation and parental alienation. She was helping them process what had happened. Helping them understand that none of it was their fault. That the adults in their lives had failed them. That it was okay to be angry and confused and hurt. The girls were making progress. They asked fewer questions about why Grandma and Grandpa had lied. They stopped mentioning Monica. They seemed lighter somehow, like a weight had been lifted. Then one day, Sophie came to me after a therapy session. Dr. Martinez said we could write letters to Mommy if we wanted. To tell her how we feel. Would that be okay? I hesitated. Do you want to do that? I think so. I have things I want to say to her. But I don't know if I'm allowed. I talked to Dr. Martinez. She explained that giving the girls a chance to express their feelings directly to Monica could be part of their healing process. Not for Monica's benefit, but for theirs. A chance to have agency. To speak their truth. To stop being passive victims and become active participants in their own story. We arranged it carefully. A supervised session in Dr. Martinez's office. Monica would be there, but I would be in the building. The session would be recorded. There would be clear boundaries. And if either girl wanted to leave at any point, they could. I wasn't sure if this was a good idea. Part of me wanted to protect my daughters from Monica forever. But Dr. Martinez convinced me that avoiding Monica wasn't the same as healing from what she'd done. And Sophie had specifically asked for this. She wanted to speak her truth. The day of the session, I drove the girls to Dr. Martinez's office. Monica was already there, waiting in the therapy room. I walked Sophie and Emma to the door, then went to wait in the lobby. My stomach was in knots the entire time. 45 minutes later, the door opened. Sophie and Emma walked out first. Their eyes were red from crying, but they looked different. Stronger somehow. Lighter. They came to me and we hugged. How did it go? I asked quietly. Good, Sophie said. I said what I needed to say. Dr. Martinez came out next. She gave me a small nod. It went well. They did great. I'll email you my notes from the session. Monica came out last. Her face was splotchy from crying. She looked at me like she wanted to say something, but I turned away. We had a restraining order. She needed to leave. Dr. Martinez escorted her out through a different exit. That night, after the girls were in bed, I read Dr. Martinez's notes. Sophie had told Monica that she felt betrayed. That Monica had lied about why she'd left. That she'd made Grandma and Grandpa help her lie. That she'd hurt everyone and now was playing the victim. Emma had been more direct. She'd told Monica, "You're not my mommy anymore. You're just Monica. And I don't want to see you again." Monica had tried to apologize. She'd tried to explain. But the girls hadn't let her make excuses. They'd said their piece and they'd left. They'd taken back their power. And that, Dr. Martinez wrote, was the most important part of healing. 6 months after Monica showed up at my door, we were in a new normal. The restraining orders were in place. My daughters were thriving in therapy. We'd found our rhythm as a family of 3. Sophie and Emma had learned hard lessons about trust and manipulation, but they were learning them with professional support and a father who would never lie to them. My parents sent letters through their lawyer. Long apologies explaining how they'd only been trying to help. How they thought they were doing the right thing. How they'd never meant to hurt anyone. I read them once and filed them away. Some betrayals were too fundamental to forgive. Monica moved to a different city. I heard through mutual acquaintances that she couldn't handle living in our town anymore. Too many people knew what she'd done. The social consequences had been too severe. She'd taken her son and left, trying to start over somewhere where people didn't know her story. I didn't feel bad for her. She'd made her choices. She'd abandoned her daughters for Derek. She'd manipulated them for years. She'd tried to poison them against me. She was living with the consequences of her own actions. That wasn't cruelty. That was justice. As for my daughters, they were healing. They were learning to trust again. They were learning that not all adults would lie to them. That their father would always protect them, even from people who claimed to love them. They were learning that family wasn't always blood. Sometimes family was the people who showed up honestly, consistently, without manipulation or hidden agendas. The restraining order still had 4.5 years on it. By the time it expired, Sophie would be 14. Emma would be 12. Old enough to make their own decisions about whether they wanted contact with Monica or my parents. But for now, they were unanimous. They didn't want anything to do with the people who'd lied to them for years. And I respected that. Because unlike the adults who'd betrayed them, I was going to honor my daughters' wishes and protect their peace. That's what real parents do. They put their children first. They protect them from harm, even when that harm comes from people who are supposed to love them. They create safe spaces where children can heal and grow and learn to trust again. Monica had shown up at my door asking for a second chance. But she'd already had her chance. She'd had years of chances, years she'd spent manipulating and lying instead of doing the hard work of actually changing. She'd lost the right to be my daughter's mother the moment she chose Derek over them. And she'd lost the right to be in their lives at all when she spent 5 years poisoning them against me. Some doors, once slammed shut, should stay closed. Not out of spite or revenge, but out of protection. Out of love. Out of recognition that some people will hurt you over and over if you let them back in. My daughters deserved better than that. They deserved a life free from manipulation and lies. They deserved a childhood where they didn't have to keep secrets or walk on eggshells or wonder which version of the truth they were supposed to believe. And I was going to make sure they had that. No matter what it cost. No matter who I had to cut out of our lives. My daughter's peace and healing would always come first. Always. That's my story. 5 years ago, my ex-wife abandoned us. Last week, she tried to come back. And in the process, I discovered a conspiracy that had been happening right under my nose for years. I exposed everyone involved. I got restraining orders. I prioritized my daughter's healing. And I don't regret any of it. If you made it this far, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories. Drop a comment and tell me, did I do the right thing, or should I have tried to forgive my parents for the sake of keeping the family together? Thanks you staying this far.